Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's been a long time since I've spoken to you. I was singing you this small jingle because I love you. It's me, Ogundiran, and I'm just happy to say that I love you. How you doing? It is October 30th, 5:33 p.m. It has been quite a while. It's been at least about 3 or 4 days since I've actually been doing one of these tapes. For several reasons. I had a small case of the strep, as in throat, from my baby boy, and we both was on the sick and shut-in list for the last couple days. We were finally off that list, and even though I do sound like Barry White right now, but I do feel good, and I did want to at least just get on one of these tapes and just kind of talk about what's been happening. You know, lots changed over these last 4 or 5 days. Let's start with the most pertinent piece of information first. Contact Butler. Contact Butler they have some pretty decent contacts, no pun intended, business contacts that is, but it's difficult to tell if I'm being strung out or if they just don't have any money, because they've been leading me on about this small amount of money that they owe me, and it's becoming critical that they pay me. So I'm feeling good about this week and them paying me this week, and just in general, I'm just feeling good about this week. I know that the world around me is conspiring to help me, and so that's really what's happened over this last couple days. It's me trying to go after my money with those people. And so for anybody who's using Contact Butler, beware. They might not even be around long. It's a mobile app, and I'm trying to be as PC as possible and positive as possible, and I still have to just kind of put out a awareness notice of that company. And here's another awareness notice, and for all of those people who are looking at Upwork as a means to make money, what I do want to say about Upwork is this. Upwork does, and what I have found in the platform of Upwork is tons of clients. But you better beware. They have a caveat in their system that has placed me in a very dire situation with this My Contact Butler, because that's why I actually found those people. I found them in Upwork. And this is why, if you're looking at Upwork as a means to make money, you need to be dealing with at least 2 or 3 clients at once. Never put all of your eggs in one basket when you're dealing with like Upwork. And so you want to spread it around a little bit. You want to be doing some stuff on Upwork. You want to be doing some stuff locally in your town. You want to be doing some of your own stuff. You want to mix it up a little bit. You don't want to be solely dependent on that, because what happened to me this last 30 days, this last 30 days, I had some financial goals, and I was working with Contact Butler, and I remember when I started with those people, it was a decent interview process, and the first interview was cool, and I met the first business contact. I'm not going to say any names for obvious reasons. And then when I did the second interview, that's the leer that you hear. This is your captain in the cockpit. So yeah, when I did the second interview, I had the pleasure of meeting a very difficult character. He knows who he is if he's listening to this. And he knows I'm not going to pull any punches because I don't owe him anything. And he better be glad that I'm not going to say his name. But anyway, the second character, he was rather difficult, and he made it clear. They made it clear, well, we don't want you to be working for anybody else. They literally said that. And, you know, they didn't pay me for like 3 or 4 weeks. And then come to find out, they haven't paid me yet. And they've strung me along for almost a month and a half. Well, at least about a month going after my money. And, you know, thankfully I didn't listen to them. And I actually had other projects and clients that at least I was able to, you know, eat out of. And so I'm saying that to say about the caveat that Upwork has with this whole quote unquote manual time. And so this is what happened. Here's the scenario. So if you're like me, you're not going to be doing all of your work online. You're not going to be doing, you know, you're going to be moving around working, and you're just not going to be online all the time when you're doing work. You might be in a coffee shop. If you're a programmer, you don't have to be online, especially if you have the repository, if you know, and if you have direct contacts from people, you know, that you met on Upwork, you're going to be calling them, and you're going to be doing, you know, you're going to be doing business. And, you know, here's the thing, Upwork, and I'll just say this first, and then I'll tell you what the caveat is. Upwork takes almost 20% if you do it. That's my ringtone. It's my ringtone, by the way. Make sure I turn that off. But anyway, let me make sure it's still recording. Cool. That's hilarious. But anyway, so Upwork takes on the hourly about 20% of your hourly rate. So for example, you know, if you're charging $25 an hour, they're going to take $5 off of it. And it goes up. If you're charging $35, they're taking $7, and $40, they're taking almost $8, $9 an hour. And so, you know, you would think that for that amount of money that they're taking an hour, that you at least get some kind of protection. But little did I know that they don't protect you at all if you do manual time. Cue the evil music. Dun, 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 dun. The creepy music. And so I did. So, you know, the contact on my the business contact for my contact butler enabled in manual time so that I could do, you know, because I work offline and I have the repository and, you know, code repository that is, from online. And I don't have to be online when I work, you know, but that doesn't necessarily mean that if, you know, when I say I work a certain amount of time, that I don't work it because I'm not online. That is not a direct, you can't make that direct statement. But anyway, so they enabled manual time. And so for the first week, I think I charged them, it may have been maybe 20 or so odd hours, right? And so based on that, okay, all right, that was me. I apologize. Anyway, but based on that, anyway, so based on the time that I put in for the remote time was, I think it was like 20 or so hours or whatever. And so they enabled manual time. And so what ended up happening is, you know, Upwork, let me not get to that part first. Let me just say what ended up happening. So when I submitted the time, what Upwork does is Upwork submits your time auto-magically to the client every, you know, on a schedule. So like it just really depends on like how you set your stuff up on Upwork. For me, it was like every Wednesday. I think they set it up based on when you start the project. I started the project on Wednesday, so the weekly turnovers were, you know, when they submit the invoices Wednesday. So the following Wednesday, they submit the invoice auto-magically, right? And that's fine. That's great. Thanks, Upwork. right? And so in this particular scenario, the client, my contact butler, did not have enough funds on their payment method that they have set up on Upwork to pay me. So what ended up happening is this is it's 2017. So for all of those people that's listening to this, just know that this is the process in 2017's October. So they might change it as a result of this. But anyway, so the payment goes unverified, and then what ends up happening is they notify the client, and then your invoice stays. But here's the caveat that, you really have to read the fine print. And this is how I know that Upwork is, no matter how great they try to make themselves seem, there's still a bunch of snake oil salesmen. Because at what happens is, for manual time only invoices, what happens is if the payment method goes unverified for, I think, like 2 weeks, what ends up happening is they reverse all manual invoices back to the client. Let me repeat that, so just in case that didn't make sense. Basically, when my contact butler did not have money, or claimed they did not have money, or refused to pay, is another way to say it, for me, on the second week, what ended up happening is that Upwork magically, and this is auto-magically, reversed my invoice without telling me. Well, I take that back. They sent me so they reversed my invoice. So they sent, so the invoice gets sent to the client, and then it's a bill that the client has to pay, right? It's a bill. So once the payment method comes back online, all of the accounts that's payable would automatically go against that payment method. But since my invoice was manual time, before their payment method went back to verified, Upwork had reversed my invoices, i.e. they took away my hours and they took away the bill from the client. Now, this is a client who didn't pay me already for 2 weeks, right? So put yourself in this position. If you had already not been paid for 2 weeks and you're waiting on the client to pay you, and you're trying your best to be patient with the client to pay you, and they're telling you, you're trying to do your best to believe them, regardless of who, whatever situation or whatever information that they try to convey to you, you do your best to believe them. And on the second/third week, what ends up happening is your invoice gets nulled out, gets voided in Upwork. So Upwork you can no longer go after your money on the platform that they already tried to charge you all of this extra additional money. Now, Upwork can say, well, we null it out, so we don't get any money either. But that is probably the stupidest way to go about doing the manual time. And I said stupidest, and and I don't know if that's a word or not, but I'm going to say it one more time. It's the stupidest way to go about it, because what ended up happening is, so Upwork sends me a request, this little support notification request, saying that, hey, we reversed your invoice. And then I go, what the explicative, right? So cue the bleep, right? And so I get on the phone immediately with Upwork, and their contact person, sweet as she could be, she did her best to try to calm me down, but she couldn't calm me down, because she kept trying to tell me to go through Upwork's time log thing, which is great. Upwork has this time logger that assumes that if you're doing work for customers online, that you're going to be online and that you're going to have an online, like an internet connection when you're doing work. So, but what happens when you don't have an internet connection? I mean, there's obviously flaws in the system. You know, if you don't have internet connection, or if you don't need internet connection, or if you're moving around, then, you know, you're pretty much screwed. Do not use manual time, because if you have a client like I just had, i.e. my contact butler, who squirms out of, you know, who was squirming out of paying me for whatever reason, whatever internal reason that they were a problem that they were having, it's really going to cause you problems. So I pretty much gave it to their customer support, you know, so, you know, bless her heart for having to deal with me on that day. And, you know, she called the guy, and ironically enough, the guy, he, you know, she said that he was in the middle of something. And I was like, so the guy squirmed out of it again. You know what I mean? He squirmed out of paying me again. So this has been like this whole payment debacle, you know, and it started, and it's essentially will be ending with, you know, Upwork not getting paid. I'm going to get paid, but Upwork's not going to get paid. And the ironic thing about it is all Upwork had to do, because I gave them a log that had the guy confirming the time, you know, and I told the young lady on the support that, you know, I basically wanted my invoice to be back in the system, you know, so that it could be, you know, because I basically wanted it to be tracked in the Upwork, because I, you know, basically if they don't pay me my money, I'm going to have some problems. You know, I'm going to be filing claims with the Better Business Bureau, and then, you know, taking it further if necessary. So, but making a really long story short, if you're using Upwork, just know that Upwork is a way to meet great and startup companies. And, you know, one thing I'm learning on Upwork is you just have to beware the kinds of startups, especially if they say keywords like, hey, you know, the guy gave me this whole spiel about them not paying people well in advance. I have to give it to the guy. He didn't necessarily say that they don't pay people, but he did give me this whole long spiel about, you know, their whole accounting process and how, like, excuse me, how like melodramatic it is. Well in advance. So, you know, I didn't know that it was going to come down to this. I'm really looking forward to my payment on Wednesday. And, you know, I'm really looking forward to getting back on here, being excited about that. But I just wanted to spend a little bit of time just to kind of forewarn all of those people that just like, hey, Upwork is a great way to meet startups and companies who don't mind remote work. Just when it comes down to like communicating with the business, people that you're doing work with or doing work with them, just try to find alternative means to get paid. You know, and I'll say that because, you know, and I'm on Upwork, and I try my best to stay in their system to get paid, but they really screwed me in this scenario, and there's really no way that they can rectify it. The support person was like, well, there's pretty much nothing that we can do about this, even though they did confirm that they actually that you did work. We just cannot put your invoice back in the system. That was just a slow. I'm still finding it hard to believe that. Being a programmer is really difficult for me to believe that. And so I would just suggest any and all, you know, freelancers, man, especially listening to my road to success in these audio logs, is if you're dealing with Upwork, just beware, you know, and just kind of have in the back of your mind that you want to be dealing with more than one client, even if they try to run this whole game like they want you to just only work with them. That's with anything. You never want to put all of your eggs in one basket. Never do that. That's lesson number one. You know, lesson number two is listen to the client. If they're already giving you like this whole spiel about how it's going to be difficult with getting you paid, run. Or at least raise a red flag, like you need your money up front before you do anything. Otherwise, you're going to be finding other ways to get paid. Because I gave it a shot, and man, this has been a really scary journey, because they pulled the plug on the project. They tried to make it seem like the project was going to be extra long. Then they pulled the plug. well, like in the middle, I think on one of the last tapes that I did, I was talking about how one of the guys who I knew was going to be, very difficult to work with, end up being, man, you know, because I'm being more positive on these, I'm not going to get into what he turned into. Just know that, it's, I'm not even going to say, but anyway, and so, yeah, so he turned into a monster of a person to deal with. And, and it just wasn't worth, and it's not worth some of the heartache and pain to just try to get the small amount of money that they owe me out of them. So I'm feeling really good about them paying me. I just know that they need to pay me way more just for dealing with them in this process. So that's that. So just kind of keep that in mind, all of my Upwork people. Also with Fiverr, man, I got, just some admonishments for, Fiverr, future Fiverr users. The people that use Fiverr are typically the people that want a lot of work done for a little bit of time. So what you need to do, or for a little bit of pay. So what you need to do is you need to find something really, really, really easy, that's something that you could do that doesn't take a whole lot of your time, because people are really picky on Fiverr, and that's not a bad thing. You just need to know that. So if you want to do a writing gig, you better be like one of those people who has a perfect handwriting, or who at least knows how to resell perfect handwriting, people who have perfect handwriting, to the point where, it's not a problem, because I'm doing like this vision mission thing, and I came off of this vacation mode, and I've had some clients that have been like, oh boy, man, and, it was almost like a welcome back slap. And so, one thing I would say, you definitely want to find something really easy that you can do that doesn't take a lot of time, or you want to find something that you can resell. This is pretty much the same information you'll find online about people saying about what you should do on Fiverr. I'm actually saying and confirming that, because people are really, and they don't tell you why. And I guess this what I'm telling you now is the why behind the what is because people are really picky, and they want to spend the least amount of money and get the highest quality. People are being trained to do that online. And so, so I would just kind of, for all of my freelancers out there, especially the single parents, I just want to one more time, just want to let you know I feel you, because I'm out here and I'm doing the doggone thing, and just keep your head up, and so yeah, moving right along. I had some other clients again. I've been on Upwork, and I think I'm just gonna start using Upwork differently. Upwork has finally shown me that the way that I was originally using Upwork is valid. And so I'm going to keep using them that way. I found another remote client just on LinkedIn. So the work that I've been doing on LinkedIn has been valid. And I definitely want to get my custom social media feeds back online tonight. Today's Monday. So, I'm going to have more information about that. That's still like proprietary stuff that I'm doing. And I have some custom feeds, bots, and other things that I'm using to program my custom LinkedIn experience. I was using a webhook technology known as Zapier to try to help facilitate some of this stuff, and I might go back to using that. But, I just want to say, that I found some remote work on LinkedIn. So it's business out there on LinkedIn. So, if you've had problems on Fiverr, if you're having problems finding stable work on Upwork, I would challenge you to get back on LinkedIn and take another look at it. It's still worth it. Because I've done some very basic stuff on LinkedIn, and I got, a remote project that might have some solid potential. I did, I interviewed for it today. I got the gig, and it seems like it's going to have some interesting potential. What I would also recommend for all of those all of my single parent freelancers out there is teaching. I'm doing tutoring, and I got another gig today. Today's been a Power Monday. Is a this after school program teaching kids to code. So, you want to mix, you don't want to just be online only. because that could be a very dangerous, scary place. If you're talking about like stability in terms of your finances for in turn. And what I'm learning about freelancing like stability comes in numbers. And so you want to have more clients than you have bills, and you want to have more clients paying you, and you want that number to add up more to more than the amount of bills that you have. And so, I'm still kind of ramping that up. I got onesies, twosies, threesies clients, and, and I'm working on like retention rates and following them up. And, and all in all, I like the freelance lifestyle. I just dropped my son off. And so I'm feeling really good about it. I just wanted to just take at least a few moments to get on here and just kind of talk, because I know it's been a couple days. And so, want everybody to just kind of take a moment, think about their days, keep your head up. I'm going to resume some of the limiting beliefs. I know that first conversation I had was rather good, and I'm just ramping things back up now. And so I'm going to continue that, along with like daily kind of, insights and things that I find. And so this is I enjoy listening to these audio logs. So, so even if nobody else listens to them, I really enjoy listening to these. So if you are just so happen to stumble upon this, welcome. My name is Dran Ogunlana, and my online presence, my username online is Mr. Ogunlana. That's MROGUNLANA, and if you Google that, you'll find me. And appreciate you. Thank you for your time. And for myself, that's going to be listening to this in the future, I just want to say I love you. Keep your head up, and I appreciate what you're doing. And just keep going, because success is not long.